Hey everybody, I'm here to kind of give you the next lesson for today. We're going to talk about homeostasis, and that was one of the things that was a bio theme and something that living things had to be able to do to be considered living. And so there are two kinds of homeostasis. There is negative and positive. Now, with negative homeostasis, that makes up about 99.9% of the time how you do homeostasis. Remember, homeostasis means keep a balance. So we keep a balance of a negative homeostasis. And positive is very, very, very rare. It's only about 0.1% of the time it is a rare one. So I want to talk about what they actually are. So I always draw homeostasis the same way. I always start with, for negative homeostasis, a bowl. Okay? And a bowl, we're going to try to move this ball. We always want this ball to be right here in the middle. This middle spot right here is called a set point. We always want to go there. Now, this ball is going to constantly keep moving. It's going to move up and down, and we have to change things to try to get the ball back to where it needs to go. Now, to get it back, we do different things depending on what you're working on in homeostasis. So if it's temperature, the ball will keep moving this way, this way, this way. This will be colder. And at a certain point, there's another set point where your body reacts and does something to get the ball to go back to where it needs to go. For us and humans, when you're cold, one of the first things you do is you shiver, or you do behavioral things like you put on a coat or a hoodie or some kind of thing like that. There's also a set point on this side. Now, what's interesting about these set points on both sides here, they can change. And you probably see that. Like in October, it'll be like 40 degrees outside and you guys are bundled up in a jacket because your set point is pretty close to this set point. But in spring, when it's 40 degrees, it feels like it's 80 degrees because the set point moved because your body got acclimated to temperatures differently throughout the year. So these points can move and they're different for each human being. Now, they're also a receptor. The receptor, I'll come off here. A receptor is what the body is using to pick up the signals of what's going on with this ball. So for example, you have temperature receptors in your skin. It's telling you if you're cold or warm or what's going on. These receptors can be broken. There's kids, it's a very dangerous thing. It sounds awesome, but there's kids that have no pain receptors, so they can't tell where this ball is. And a lot of those times, those kids don't make it past age 10 because they don't realize that there's something wrong with their body. Because these receptors tell you, okay, something is going on. Something is wrong. Something is not right inside. On the other side, I'll draw another one of these. There is an effector. An effector is something that causes the change to bring us back to homeostasis. So, for example, I have the receptors in my skin to see I'm cold. It sends a signal to my brain. My brain sends a signal to my muscles in my body to shake, to shiver, to get warm. So there's an effector that makes the actual change to get us back to homeostasis. The positive side, the drawing's a little bit different. It's a hill. Now, the idea of positive feedback is you're set here, but you would like the ball to roll down the hill. You would like to create unbalance. So positive here, we are trying to throw out of balance. Now that is counterproductive for homeostasis. That's why it's so rare. You rarely ever do this. The only real times you do this is childbirth. During childbirth, female body will sense that what's going on through its receptors. There'll be a receptor. They'll sense what's going on. And what it'll do is it'll produce a bunch of chemicals in the brain to reduce the pain. And it will just keep throwing the amount of chemicals down this hill. It wants to create as much, pain reducing agents into the brain as possible. Also, it needs to open up the cervix and a couple other things that happen during childbirth that you could ask your parents about or a health teacher that need to occur. That's a not normal state. It needs to throw it out of normal. The other one that might be in here is breastfeeding. Again, it's a not normal state. Near-death experiences, your body throws yourself into a euphoric kind of state. That's a non-normal state. Basically, at the end of the day, if you ever want to know the difference between positive and negative, negative is trying to create normal. Positive is trying to create not normal. One of these needs to occur more often. We want ourselves to be normal. Not normal occurs in extreme situations that only occur once or twice in a lifetime, and something, well, more, I guess, in some cases, but something that you kind of just want to, you need extra help in. It's a weird situation. Okay, so negative feedback, trying to bring it back to normal. You have set points where your body actually reacts at. You can change these set points. Positive feedback, you really only have a normal spot, and then there's not really a set point after that. It's just falling off the cliff and going down the hill. The ball's rolling. Now, eventually, by the way, in positive feedback, you can't just have the ball keep rolling down the hill. It's going to stop, and eventually it needs to come back to normal. So there has to be a negative feedback loop. For example, like breastfeeding, it'll go down this hill for as long as a woman is breastfeeding. Once a woman stops breastfeeding, they'll bring it back to a normal state that's going on in her body before breastfeeding was occurring. So positive, negative feedback. Negative common, positive feedback not that common.